we got used to we kind of bought into the demonization of Osama bin Laden and then Saddam Hussein and then Gaddafi, and you start to question it. Now it's Bashar's turn, the great dictator. Well, he was studying to be an optician. He became an optician in England, didn't he? Something like that. Is it?
Ophthalmologist? Yeah.
Yeah, and did he marry an English woman, or am I wrong about that?
No, she's Syrian.
Okay.
She's a Syrian. Uh, Her family is Syrian. She just lives in Britain.
I
So,
see.
uh,
I mean, he was one of the he was generally accepted. Suddenly, it's just convenient to demonize him. I remember Gaddafi actually saying
yes,
the same thing. He's saying, everybody believes the Western press, and it's just about true, isn't it?
it's exactly right. And, if they wanted to demonize Obama, they would have plenty of fuel to do so. But Obama is seen as this hero that's going to save everybody. And he's such a humanitarian, and he's for change and hope and whatever the posters say about him.
He's bombed more people, I think, than Bush before him. There's certainly more drone attacks going on, but I think it's actually quite a lie. We have these democratically elected President Obama and Prime Minister Cameron. I honestly don't believe they can think for themselves for 1 minute. I think they get instant retribution if they dared to. They're just puppets speaking, no?
I absolutely believe that all figureheads are puppets to some degree, some more than others. And I actually believe that the Western figureheads are bigger puppets than the figurehead in Syria. So, Bashar, I don't believe he has complete power in Syria. I think it would be a delusion to think so. And it's actually one of the delusions that is purported by the West because they want to make him seem as this all-powerful, strong man who's got an iron fist, when it's simply not true. But if you look at the European leaders and the American leaders and the Canadians, they're just a bunch of talking heads, and they're puppeted by corporations and by basically a shadow government that is behind the scenes,
Totally.
and the whole democracy, is a sham. And they keep saying that democracy is this ideal system. Well, first of all, the West doesn't actually have democracies. Their democracies, they don't represent the politicians do not represent what the people want. They represent what the corporations want. But in the first place, a democracy is just majority rule, mob rule, and it can oppress a minority. Which is why 2,000 years ago, a different system was established by Greece and Rome called a republic, where the individual rights are protected by a constitution. So that a majority can't one day wake up and say, we are going to just take your house and kill your family just because we're the majority and we can do so. But again and again, democracy is the only system that we are being sold by the Western media. And even in the state that it's in, is not really democracy. It's a fascism with a democratic face. And
Everything's owned by the same people, the newspapers, the television, the media from morning till night. It's just brainwashing, full blown brainwashing. I don't really understand the difference. What is a republic and what is democracy? I know this isn't democracy, but what is a republic by comparison?
a republic, okay, a democracy basically says that the majority chooses the law. Whatever the majority says, that is law. But a republic is protecting the rights of the individual and the minorities, and that constitutional right is above the vote of the majority. So, whereas in a democracy, the majority is the highest thing, in a republic, the majority vote is second to the constitution. which defends the right of the minority.
Wow. I mean, in America, they've thrown the Constitution away anyway. Britain doesn't have a
I know,
constitution.
and yet we're still keep they they have a supposed republic, but they keep talking about democracy, and perhaps it's because it's their agenda to make them forget that they're actually living in a republic,
You know,
not a democracy.
Libya had a democracy. Afghanistan, maybe it didn't. They don't care. They don't care. They're really wicked. Most wicked people in history.
The they're so wicked not only because of their actions. I mean, there's been empires who have committed various crimes in the past, but they're wicked, but they try to put a nice face on it. And I think that's what makes it so disgusting to us because we see what they do and then what they say is such a contrast. I mean, if they said, we're evil and we're out to control everything, perhaps we wouldn't be so disgusted by them. But they also happen to be liars. And when it comes to Libya, you mentioned their form of direct democracy, and it comes me to the point that I actually really despise democracy in its current form and the thing that they're trying to sell to the world. This parliamentary rule where people vote for politicians and then they may or may not do what they had promised to do to get elected with. And as people, that's their will is never heard, as I said before. So a direct democracy is much better, but even a dictatorship that is a benevolent dictatorship or one that seeks to actually benefit people is better than a sham democracy that looks after the interest of corporations. So these ideologies, if implemented correctly, might result in something good, but they in themselves are not good or bad. It's the implementation that is good or bad. But with the my ideal of a perfect system would be to do away with politicians and to just have direct democracy where each issue is voted on which concerns the person specifically. I mean, if an issue doesn't concern you, then and you don't know much about it, then you won't vote on it. And one of the interesting new developments for me is something called Senator Online, where people vote directly online for issues, and a senator has to vote on those subjects by law, as is represented by the people. Now, I don't think, I think for this to work, obviously, information has to be free and can't be controlled by any one party so that people can choose correctly. But on the other hand, I'm not going to tell you that people's choice is going to result in necessarily a utopia. I'm pessimistic and cynical enough to believe that actually people's direct choice might end up with a dystopia. But at least for me, it will be a dystopia from the creation of those people with their own hands. It will be a cesspit of their own creation, and perhaps humanity can learn from that. At least it would be one step up from living in a cesspit of somebody else's creation, not by choice.
All we've got now are democracies going and bombing people that cannot defend themselves. That's all we're seeing. Crimes against humanity. Syrian girl, we're going to stop there?
Sounds good.